everybody, it's Wendy. Welcome. I am so excited you're here today. We are going to be making this beautiful card. I made this card for my mom and I just wanted to show you how to make it. This is the Global Design Challenge for this week. They did a sketch and I copied that sketch, and so you can go there and check that out too, or the information's over on my blog. I just have a piece of basic black cardstock here that I've cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and then folded it down to make a top folding card. And then I put a piece of Whisper White cardstock on the inside and it was cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm using my Heart Collection framelits. These are retired. You can no longer purchase them from Stampin' Up, but there's lots of companies that carry Heart framelits. So I have a piece of Simon Says stamp masking paper here, and I'm just laying it down on my Big Shot, and then I'm going to put the heart down kind of towards the top. Now I've cut this piece of masking paper to be the same size as the front of my card, which is 4 by 5 1/4, because I want to be able to line up the heart and make sure that everything is just right when I do my sponging. This is a masking technique, and this is one of my favorite techniques to do actually, because it's really simple but it gives just such an amazing effect afterwards. So I'm just popping out the center, and I'll save that little center piece for later. And as you can see, I got the heart crooked. So I peeled off the release paper from the masking, and I ended up having to kind of adjust this masking paper so that it would be straight when I put it on the cardstock. This can happen pretty easy, especially when you're filming a video. The truth is, it's just easy to get stuff a little bit off. So I ended up having to put that masking paper on a little cattywampus and use it just like that, but it worked fine. So we're going to be using 3 colors: Daffodil Delight, Bermuda Bay, and Watermelon Wonder. I have Stampin' Sponges here to do my ink blending, and I'm just starting out in the top of this heart, and as you can see, I'm going in a circular motion to add ink to this heart. Then I'm going to move on to the Watermelon Wonder, and that's going to be underneath, and I'm going to go ahead and overlap into the Daffodil Delight just a little bit, and that kind of creates a little bit of an orangey color there where I overlap. Sorry about my camera going out of focus. I'm not sure what was happening there, but it happened a couple times. And then the Bermuda Bay I will add to the last area of this heart. I just really love these colors. They're bright, they're beautiful, and they blend very nicely together, because where the Daffodil Delight and Bermuda Bay meet, it gets a little bit green, and where the Watermelon Wonder and Bermuda Bay meet, it gets a little bit purpley, and it just is a really pretty combination of colors. So get these stamp pads put away, and then I'm going to peel off the masking paper. And I didn't show the whole process of peeling this masking paper off because it takes a little bit. You have to go really slow or you will rip the paper. So that's a little FYI for you. And then I went ahead and added Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of this piece. This is a piece that I want to pop up from the front of the card. So I'm just adding a whole bunch of dimensionals here, and then I will stick down this card front to the card base. Then we're going to move on to finish the card. I used the stamp set Sweet Sayings. The stamp set is one of my favorites in the Occasion catalog. You can still get it till May 31st. So if you want to pick this stamp set up, you can do it then. I'm using Versamark ink because I'm going to do some heat embossing. And there's that stamp set. And the Versamark ink is sticky, so when you add the Whisper White powder to it, it adheres to the stamp. So I noticed right away that I didn't stamp that good and I needed to re-stamp it. So I just flipped it over to the other side and stamped it. And if you noticed, I used my embossing buddy over this black paper prior to doing my stamping. And that's just to prevent the embossing powder from sticking anywhere that I don't want it to stick. So I'm going to go ahead and open this container up. This is how I store my white embossing powder. It's just easier this way. And pour it right over the top there. Clean that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to heat set this using my heat tool from Stampin' Up. So, excuse me, after I heat set it, I just am checking here in the light to make sure everything's heated and melted, because if you do anything with it after that point, you'll end up messing it up. So you want to make sure you did heat set it. Now I'm taking my Stampin' Trimmer, which is a wonderful trimmer because it's very accurate and it cuts beautifully. And I'm actually going to cut these sentiments apart. Now, I actually debated cutting the stamp set or the stamp itself apart and then stamping separately, but I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to leave this one intact because the font was so close together. I was afraid if I cut the stamp apart, it would ruin it. So I didn't do that on this one. And then I am going to trim the edges of these little pieces. So I'm just going to cut them at a bit of an angle. And they're I don't even know how you call that because it's not a tag end or a fishtail end. It's just at a little bit of a slant. And so I did that on both of these. And then I'm going to adhere them down using some foam tape. Now this foam tape I've talked about in a lot of videos. I get it at my local hardware store. It comes in a 3/4 of an inch width or thickness, and I get a lot of use out of it because I just trim it down like I have here in this video. So before the video, I went ahead and trimmed that down. Okay, so I'm just sticking this down right over my heart, and then I'll stick the second one down over my heart as well, but I'm gonna kind of off center it. Now, had I stamped this or left this stamp originally the way it was, I wouldn't have been able to have the interest of kind of making the sentiment look different. So that is the benefit in cutting a stamp apart or stamping an image and then maybe cutting into it and changing it a little. Because this was just a block stamp that was right on top of each other, and by doing it this way I was able to separate the sentiment. Okay, so I have some sequins. They're just cheapy sequins that I got at a little craft store where I live. And they're just clear, kind of iridescent, so they kind of pick up the color that's around them. And I have some big ones and then I have some small ones. So that's what I'm doing here, is just adding these sequins to this card because I just felt like it needed a little something more, but not much. So that will complete my card. I'm using my, you can see here, I'm using my fine tip glue pen and it says Tombow on it. If you're wondering what that is about, I did a video on that and I'll link it here so that you can check that video out if you want to. Again, this card was designed for the Global Design Project, and they just have weekly challenges that are really fun and I really enjoy participating in. So if you get a chance, check them out. These are my cards for today. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want to watch more, you can watch one of these videos here by just clicking on the images above if you're on a computer. It won't work if you're on a tablet or a phone. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.